We are here to talk about our thoughts on the three big value creations that Founders Live brings to the world. I know that you have a lot of thoughts on this, and I'm excited to really talk about this. And we have three main topics that we want to talk about. The high level here is, look, Founders Live has gone from one city in Seattle. We now reach almost 100 cities globally. We are in more than 30 countries. Entrepreneurship is a human desire. It's not an American thing. I just spent 2 months in Southeast Asia, mostly in Indonesia. It's a group of islands down, south of Singapore and Malaysia. And we have, Founders Live has expanded to more than 20 cities just in Indonesia. And I saw with my own eyes the impact that Founders Live has had on literally global entrepreneurship. And you look at entrepreneurs there in Indonesia, it's been absolutely amazing. It was so great to meet all the people and see what's going on there. And we're going to do so much more there, right? But
yeah.
I want us to share our thoughts here in this segment on the three things that we believe Founders Live is bringing. And our first topic here is, what do you think the biggest value Founders Live brings to cities and communities, whether they're like New York City or a city like Birmingham, Alabama, or a city like, for instance, Palembang, Indonesia, which some of you might not even know where Palembang is. Luis, I want you to open on, what do you think the value, how much value do you think this Founders Live can add to cities and communities around the world?
Yeah, thanks, Nick. I'll preface all this by saying that I take kind of an approach here of a holistic feeling around Founders Live value. This isn't something that's transactional or something that is about, what do I get out of this, like lead gen or money wise, or like, am I going to win an investment from a shark or something like that? This is really, the way I look at this stuff is really about emotional and intangible things. So let's start here. The first topic being cities and communities. I alluded to this earlier when talking about the core values, and that I love the idea that we talk about gather around the campfire. For cities and communities, Founders Live is a way to draw people, like-minded people together. It's a pretty simple concept to have events. People have book clubs and, knitting circles and whatever else, but like, what is there for entrepreneurs, and what can they discover together when they come together and find out, common joys? They share pain, they share just kind of like, they know they're not alone. So it is, these things become convergence points through which founders can feel validated, and they see the support, and they see that, there's something bigger than themselves here. It's not just them in their basement, or they've been working really hard, and there's other people doing things, and there's a whole world to consider, and it's just this really cool. It's just getting in the mix, and I think that's really important. And the cities benefit from that too. So,
How about
you? What's your
take? Yeah, and kind of going with that, I'll take the angle of, I've said this so many times, and I've always believed that Founders Live can and should be a staple in that community. What I mean by that is, just imagine a world where in thousands and thousands of cities, there is a Founders Live experience event frequently, whether once a month, every quarter, whatever, that absolutely showcases. It's a celebration. People gather. It's, their food, drink, they're having a good time, but then it celebrates the talent that is emerging out of that community and city. And we're talking about, could be a small city of 20,000, 50,000 people, or it could be a city like New York that has millions and millions of people. It literally is helping with the foundation of growth within that city, right? Yeah. And it brings the new talent that's working on ideas, solving the problems in that city and community to the surface. And man, I think if you look at the value that brings to the community and city, it brings people together. It's fun. And then it really moves the innovations and creations that started in that city forward, getting them in front of potential investors, potential partners, and big customers. that generates revenue in the
Yeah.
end in commerce. So,
Yeah.
man, I think it is huge value.
It's also a way, to piggyback on what you're saying there, it's too like the way that a community, a city decides to say this stuff matters. This is something we care about, and this is how we show that. Or these us going through this with frequency, this gives it legitimacy.
Yeah, it does. It does. It's amazing. Well, given the time, we have a few more
Yep.
things here, and I want to move on to the next one here. What is the value to founders and there we go, founders and entrepreneurs?
Yeah.
So maybe another question would be why would a founder choose and want to pitch at Founders Live, Luis? What do you think the main value here is? I mean, there's obviously many, but what is the
Yeah,
top?
there's a lot. And I know where you're going to go, so I'm going to try to step around that and leave that for you. But for me, it is an interesting way to test ideas. It's you as a founder, even if you have a team, those are ears that are used to hearing your voices and your thoughts, and you live in your own world, and this is that putting it out in public. And how does this sound when how does my demo tape sound when I play it on this in a bar, right? It's a way, it's essentially that for founders. Like, I'm going to put my idea in front of people and I'm going to get reaction. And it sounded cool when I said it, but now that I'm rehearsing it and going through, is it going to resonate with other people the way it does with me? It's a really cool test. It's also a way to begin that super important process of recognizing and fostering community, and not just audience, not just future customers, but perhaps people that can, work with you or support your company more than just a customer would, but maybe winning fans.
Oh, yes. Love it. And in addition to that, I believe the value, amongst many other things, the value of a founder pitching at Founders Live is really about the preparation experience in the whole chain that they go through, the chain of, stepping up and wanting to, they apply to pitch at Founders Live, they get chosen, they're provided, preparation tools and going through the process, and then, going, actually being ready to pitch. They experience the event, they step on stage with confidence and deliver that pitch. Hey, they might even win, but that almost is not hugely the most important thing. And then they get major confidence boost after that, and maybe there's results that come from it. Investors were in the audience, people were connecting them maybe to other partners and customers. That is just all together huge. But what I want to do is narrowly focus in on just the process of when you are going through the Founders Live experience pitching, the tools that we provide you, and actually the ones that we're bringing down the chain. Like, we're excited to release some really new things, cool things that absolutely help a founder. The thing is, through this process, you figure out what your clear, direct, concise message is. It helps you actually figure out your why of your business. It helps you figure out, wow, what am I actually building, and how do I tell it to the world in less than 139, so 99 seconds. That is not easy. And someone going through that on the back end, dang it, man, they have really moved themselves and their business forward. And it helps with their investor pitch deck and their message to investors. It just does so much. So the value is in that, really, that pressure point of going through that process and coming out the other side. It creates better founders and stronger messages to move forward. And I think there's not a lot that can really help that in a short amount of time.
It's truly transformational. It's like a rubric, or it's a gauntlet almost, right? Doing all this stuff, but you are so much better for having gone through it. There's so many things that change as a result of going through the process. And I know we got to keep moving along, but one other thing to say about this too, talking about the value of community, is this is a pitch competition, and this is one of the first times that a founder might experience that it's not just all about product, or it's not just all about the idea, but it is also about gathering people to support that idea. And how well do you communicate what you're trying to deliver, and get people to come out and vote, come and support. You can win by really harnessing community. It is more than a small amount of a job of a founder of a company to do that marketing messaging. So this is a test for that.
Great point. The last one here we're going to talk about is the value and impact Founders Live can have on global entrepreneurship. So Luis, real quick, what are your thoughts on, let's now take it holistically on a global stage. Where do you see this, and how do you, even today, how are we impacting global entrepreneurship?
Sure. I'll take a different angle than a blown up version of the city and community value, which I think, also applies. But for me, I'll take like a diversity approach here. This is validation for people of all kinds and of all walks all around the world. All of us who watch these Founders Live presentations online, in person, we get to see that there are people just like us on the other side of the world doing similar things. And it doesn't matter at the point of the pitch, at the point of the idea, at the point of what they can do for community, who they, sorry, I don't want to say it doesn't matter who they are. It does matter who they are. We find out that all kinds of people can be celebrated and validated and part of this process as a global citizen. And we realize we're bigger than our city, or our country, or even our Founders Live region. We are part of something bigger, and we all have a responsibility to each other, and we can celebrate each other and increase our empathy and compassion, and it's just a great avenue for personal growth. That's where I'm going with this.
Love it. Thank you. And I'm taking my angle here is, man, I just came off of a 2-month, pretty much 8-week tour, going down into Southeast Asia. And I spent most of my time in the country of Indonesia, was in 9 cities across Indonesia, Jakarta, huge city, some of the smaller cities, like little islands. And what I can tell you is that the world is very large. No matter what they say, there are people, and there's billions of people on this world, on this planet, and there's billions of people that just haven't fully got the opportunity to make impact that they want to. So when you think about global entrepreneurship and you look at, what is the impact of Founders Live, again, we're still expanding, and, we've only reached, 90 cities. Some of those are quiet. So, it's not as much of that activity at this point. So what you look at is Founders Live, even locally and countrywide, it is an economic boom. What we are doing is we are helping the earliest stage startups and founders get what they need to get to the point of like establishment, really to the point where they're established and growing, right? And we're not fully responsible for their success, but we are providing mechanisms, resources, and the opportunity to get that message out. And if you just start stacking that, this is important. Think about the stacking of that over years and years and years. There is the time that there will be global GDP impact from Founders Live, simply because we will be in so many cities. Go back to what I was saying earlier, a staple in a city. It is a mechanism that they can not only have inspiration, they're collaborating, they're getting established and growing in their city. Their country is identifying them. Maybe they're moving forward in those own ways. They're getting resources. And some of those companies are going to turn into massive companies, multi-billion-dollar companies, impacting their country, maybe bringing better technology, social awareness to things. And then now you wrap that into all the countries around the world. We're already making impact. We actually have Founders Live Prime Time. We have our global competition where we bring in many different founders and startups from many different countries, and they compete. And so we're bringing the world together as a celebration. So these are the things that when you think about Founders Live, some might think it's, that's they're pretty big. That's crazy. They're all over the world. Some might think that, it's not that big yet and that they're kind of small. Well, I can tell you that on the rate and as we keep going, the global impact here is already being felt, but there is major possibility for this to really impact economics and global GDP as we go forward. And we hope that that's the case. So